Hello, my name is Caitlin,
I'm Bella.
and this is the Colorguard Creative podcast.
Yay!
Welcome back, Bella.
Hi. Well, it's great to be back. It's
know,
been
right?
a minute.
It has been a minute. We've been so busy. Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
Ugh, it's been a lot.
It's week 2 of band camp?
Yes, we're going into week 3.
Right.
Which is insane.
I lost track after I left for the summer and
I know.
just completely wiped my memory.
So how was Chicago?
Oh my gosh, it was beautiful. Here in Texas, when it was like 100
It was something
degrees,
crazy.
100 plus. We were walking around in 60-degree weather in
my God,
Chicago.
that sounds amazing.
Beautiful. But now we're back.
And we had Miriam on the podcast, our
Right.
first guest. She
Right.
came on when you were out on vacation.
Yes, she was
And-
fantastic.
Yes.
Really
I love
grateful for her to step in there.
I know, right? I know. I love her so much. And we're actually gonna do a follow-up episode in like maybe end of September, like right before competition season starts.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah, so I'm excited to do that with her because she really liked doing this because she had done a podcast when I guess a couple years ago, she used to do a podcast and she was like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun.
Yeah, that's so exciting.
Yeah, but I'm really glad that you're back.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad
I
to be
missed you.
back. Missed you too.
So, and then we started the band camp, and I'll tell you this, that first week, even though it was a shorter like time frame, it really kicked my butt.
It kicked my butt too.
You know?
But you know what? It was good. I kind of, after, last year, the hottest summer ever, a little unsure of how things were going to go. I was more nervous walking to band camp last year. But once we got here and we started working with the kids, I could tell some of them had been practicing over the summer. It was,
I could tell some of them, like, some of them came in and I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
You were not doing those in the beginning or in our May camp.
They came here ready to learn, and so first week went by pretty good. We were a little too busy to sit down and record one of these together.
We were so busy and
it was exhausting.
We were so tired, and we were like, we're just not gonna be able to give out like a good quality episode if we try to record right now. So just skipping a week, I hope everybody knows, like, you're in the midst of band camp as well. Like, please understand, we want to put out quality only.
Oh my goodness.
But
it was a good week. Lots of technique building is just what we focused on that first week.
We did a lot of technique building and a lot of just like getting reestablished, and you have to be like, because here's the thing. Did all of them practice during June when we had off? No. And you can tell, like, if they did all of them every single, like, if they did do that, like, all of practice and all that kind of stuff, would we be a little bit more ahead? Yeah.
Sure.
But, it's almost kind of like you come back, you got to have that week to just, like, kick their butts.
Right.
And kick our own butts.
Yeah. Oh, it did.
To get us whipped back into shape,
exercises.
Exercises.
We turned up the heat on the exercises.
Oh my God, we did.
I lead our exercises and sometimes our stretches, like our long stretches, depending on what everyone's doing. And I always do it with them because my big thing is I want them to see me doing it so they don't think that I'm going to just tell them to do something that I wouldn't do myself. But what has ended up happening is I'm doing all these exercises and I'm getting a little bit skinnier. I don't know.
Yeah, seriously, from
Kicking
the
my
beginning of Monday of last week, doing these 2 weeks, I weighed myself on Wednesday of this past week, and so that was like, what, a week and a half? I had lost 6 pounds, and I was like,
crazy,
bruh.
No joke. These
exercises, man, like,
but it's been
worth it.
Nice. And so after week 1, we entered choreography camp.
Yes, and so I took off PTO, paid time off from my big girl job, right? So my corporate job, and that, I was so excited for that. And my corporate job, like, it's just a means to make money at the end of the day. Do I love the people that I work with there? Yes, 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 all that stuff. But like my true passion is color guard and like doing this and like education and all that kind of stuff. Like it gets such a awesome high out of it. So I was very excited to take this paid time off.
I was very excited you took the paid time off too.
I know. And I was like, we gotta pump out as much choreography as can. And I said to you at the beginning of the week, I was like, if we can get through movement 3 or movement 2, I will be happy. We got through movement 3.
Now, let's put this into perspective a little bit, okay? Because normally, every other time that I've taught a color guard or been in a color guard, it takes, quite a few weeks to choreograph movement 1, And a lot of the times we have to wait till we get the drill and then write choreography around that. So we don't actually start choreographing until like after school starts.
Yeah.
Day 3 of this choreography camp, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. On Wednesday, besides a couple different solo parts, breaking up parts, we had parts 1, 2, and 3,
and both flag and rifle, all of that choreography. And swing flag
and dance
and the dance, the first movement.
Now, do all the kids know it?
No,
but
did they retain it?
No, but we know it. And so now we can spend these next couple weeks of band camp, teaching, going over the counts. You're going back to work, and so it's going to be mostly me and the techs. But now that we have all this work, we can start really ironing it out, cleaning it, drilling it in, and by the time we start doing drill, we can just piece it together.
Exactly.
Easy peasy.
And that is so exciting for me as a color guard director, thinking to myself, oh my God, this is such a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. Because the choreography part for me is so, like, I like it, but also too, it's a huge weight because like that's our show.
Yeah. And
if we don't have choreography, then we look weird standing there on the field with no choreography and the band is playing.
I feel like choreography is this like looming darkness for a lot of color guard directors who are just trying to get by. Having 3 parts choreographed in the first week is not a normal thing.
It's not.
So do not feel bad if you don't have anything choreographed right now, because that's normal, I feel. But we're lucky enough that we have you, me, our 2 wonderful techs. And we really just grinded this week.
We did. We slayed the day away. Like I was trying to be realistic with my goals, and I was thinking to myself, I don't know if we're going to be able to get through movement 2. Like we'll see what happens, And the other thing too is that me personally, I would rather write the choreography and then we start, let's say we start, piecing together, oh, this like 16 count is this moves, right? And what if we have to change that? Well, now the kids already know the choreography. Now we can go back and say, okay, guys, this set of 16, we have to change it because you're going through the band now.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and scrap this 16 count because you're going to be going through the band, and let's go ahead and just lift our flag up and do like a slow row or something. Yes. So it's easier for me personally as a planner to write my wish list choreography, get the wish list choreography out, and then if we need to change it, we go back and start modifying accordingly.
Right. So let's talk a little bit more about that organizational part, because I feel like this is where color guard directors really struggle, especially if they're by themselves and they don't have like somebody experienced like you to be like, this is what we're gonna do. So like you said, you start out with that wish list choreography. A lot of times we don't get drill until, like last year we didn't get our drill until
nightmare
very late.
Like it was like 3 or 4 days into our drill camp that we didn't even get our first 5 sets of drill. Yeah,
which was
crazy.
Kind of like, I don't know, I feel like we didn't get all of part 1 until a few weeks into school.
Yeah, we didn't. It was chaos. We were seriously just trying to survive that. We were. Our year 0. And if you don't know what that means, so when you first take over a school and you you're first taking over, you're fresh, new, you're trying to figure out the staff, you're trying to figure out the kids, you're trying to figure out the program. That's year zero. That's ground zero. You are building something. You're laying a foundation and you're building up. That's year zero. So last year was our year zero because we came in July, figuring it all out, trying to put together everything. This year is our year one because we're established. The kids know us. We know the kids. We know the talent, all that kind of stuff. Now we're able to like really plan from like the beginning.
Yeah.
Beginning.
Yeah.
And, last year we didn't get drill in time. And that was like my biggest fuss because for me, I like to see some type of drill. And like I like to communicate with a show designer during fall to figure out what do you want, what do we need, all of those kind of things. Well, this year I was like, when did we pick out the show? April or May or something?
Very early. Yeah.
Very early. One of my first things that I said was I need drill before July 15th. So I put a date and I was like, I need drill by this date so I can start figuring out what we need. And then I was like, I want to communicate with the show designer and all of these kind of things. So I was able to communicate with the show designer, like, what do you want? Because at the end of the day, for fall specifically, I am just somebody that helps create a vision. They take my skills, expertise in color guard, and we build something off of it. This is not my show. It's the designer's show. So I have to follow the guidelines of the designer. So communicating with those people and like organizing like when I need drill and like what we're doing and all the and very specific notes. That's what's going to make me successful in my job to make your show design come to life.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people forget about the show designer themselves.
Yeah.
Which
they're like the vital piece.
They're like the vital piece. And I've been in guards where the color guard director was able to say, hey, I'm going to take over this stuff. And then the show designer was like, okay, great. The band director was like, okay, do whatever you want. And if that's the kind of like relationship you have, the deal you have, okay, great. But a lot of times these schools are paying these show designers a lot of money to design the show. They're giving us the show. It's their show, and we have to execute their vision. I forgot that,
Yeah, and I think when you work with, it depends on the program, like you said, right? Some programs, the show designer is just there to give a concept and like some sparse notes. But usually sometimes the color guard is just left to their own devices because the band director doesn't know what to do with them. Usually the drill designer doesn't know.
And it was my first year. I'll never forget my first director. Our band director handed our color guard director the drill. He grabbed it, looked at it, threw it in the trash, and just did his own thing. I mean, he was great. It was not malicious at all. He was just like, I'm doing my own thing. This was already decided, Yeah. But no, this time we are working very closely with the show designer,
the drill writer.
The drill writer. You got their numbers, so you've been in contact with them directly about the color guard, right?
Yeah. So I was very adamant. I want to talk to the show designer, like in May. Like I want to start figuring out like what do you want? All those things. Like, hi, my name is Caitlin. I'm the color guard director. Like, what do you need from me? And at the end of the day, like, and I told this to the show designer, which I think kind of took him by surprise because I think a lot of color guard people are very like what you said, they're used to programs where they have to write their own drill and they have to come up with their own show concepts because they're just like almost forgotten about a lot of the time. Where this designer was like, I want specific things here and here, and like, this is what I want. And I was like, and I said to him over the phone, I said, at the end of the day, this is your show. I am just a color guard expert to be able to provide you with a product that you want. So if you don't want baskets here, like we're doing a basket feature, if you don't want baskets here and you want flags here, then we'll put flags there. You just got to tell me what you want And then I will provide you with my wish list choreography, and we can change it if you don't like it. That's my job as your support system as a color guard expert, creating the show design that you want. And I think he was a little taken aback because I think he was like, you know, maybe like, oh, maybe I have to like fight with her a little bit on this. And I was like, nah, this is not my show. What do you want?
Mm-hmm.
I will provide that product to you. And I think he was taken aback by it a little bit because he was like, oh, because he was like, well, you know, you've written all this choreography and, you know, I just don't want you to get sold or stuck on that. And I said to him, I create a wish list choreography, and if you don't like something, we'll go back and change it. It's really not that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oh, okay. And I was like, yeah, I'm good, bro. Like, you know, but like with this program, we have an established show designer that is very good at his job. And then he works with a drill writer that does his job. I'm not sold on the ColorGuard drill, but again, I have to pick my battles. And I also have to say to myself, because when I was really frustrated this week, when I was like, I just don't like this drill because it feels like the color guard looks like a sore thumb in some of the parts, I have to say to myself, Caitlin, this is not your show. And if the show designer likes the drill for the color guard, then we'll keep it. And at the end of the day, this is not my show. Yeah. This is not my show design. This is not my show drill. It's not mine. What is mine is Winter Guard.
Yeah. So y'all get ready for that.
Yeah. What is mine is Winter Guard. And I get to do whatever the heck I want. I have nobody telling me what to do during Winter Guard because it's all mine. It all has my name on it. Everything is mine. Aside from, you know, obviously, you know, design help from you and all that. But,
right.
you know, but like at the end of the day, my name is on that show. This show, it's not mine. It doesn't have my name on it. I'm not the show designer. So
my name is technically attached to it.
My name is attached to the color guard.
Right. But the show
show design and drill and all that, that's not mine.
Yeah.
My name's not on that.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, sometimes you just gotta be like, okay, whatever you want. You know?
Yeah. And
that's where I think a lot of color guard people, I think they get into that, like, well, this is my color guard and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, but at the end of the day, it's not your show.
Sure. And like, save yourself the stress because come Winter Guard, you know, that'll be all you. But right now, like it or not, you're working in a very collaborative team. You have a lot of other responsibilities. You have a lot of other responsibilities. You don't need to add fighting the show designer to your plate.
Exactly. It's just not worth it. And that's why I said earlier, you got to pick your battles. And if you don't like the drill, for example, but the show designer does, okay. Move on.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Put some good choreography there. You know, that's what you can do.
Yeah. Yep. And that's what you can do. So, you know, I think with organization wise, make sure you're planning out, figuring out what you want to do, and you know, that's going to be the thing that's going to make you most successful. And I'm very excited that we were organized, and me and you have executed this. Like, oh my gosh, we've done so good so far. And we have, oh my gosh, it's so exciting.
It has been really exciting. And I was very stressed and very hesitant going into this next year, but so far it has been, I don't know. Yeah. Pretty good. Come home feeling like, okay, we worked today. Yeah. We worked our butts off today.
Oh my gosh, like 6 pounds lost. Yeah. Butts off, you know? But it's good. And I feel like we're in a really good place right now. Like all the hard work that we've put in these past 2 weeks, I feel like it's going to really output on a really amazing product for the kids, for the band director, for the show designer, all of that. You know, I feel like we're in a good place.
No, absolutely.
And that's exciting.
You know, we were talking about responsibility wise. You know, it's your responsibility during the fall to kind of work with the show designer, help create this product. You are creating choreography, but we were talking a little bit about the other responsibilities that come with being a color guard director that a lot of people also kind of don't realize is part of the job.
Yeah.
And we saw that a lot this week. We were able to divvy up tasks and stuff, but let's talk a little bit about those other responsibilities kind of behind the scenes.
Yes, we'll talk about that after our sponsor break. So our sponsor break, real quick, y'all. So we don't have sponsors yet, but again, reminder, make sure you're taking the free student leadership course. And also too, there's a $95 introduction course for mainly geared towards text, but like even if you're new to color guard, you're new to teaching color guard, or you just need some like, oh, I really felt like I never got that education, this is a really good course. It's only $95, y'all, and it has so much amazing information in it, like how to build your resume, how to look for a job opportunities within the color guard community. It talks about teaching color guard, actually teaching color guard, and
different learning styles,
how to cater to those. It talks about figuring out how you fit into the color guard and band organization as a staff member. It talks a lot about great stuff to get you started, get you up on your feet. $95, go take it, online course. It's amazing. Also too, if you want to submit a story, because we did story submission with Miriam, we're going to do them as well. We're going to continue doing them. We have a couple in our pocket and we want to save those, for certain days after we talk about certain topics. But if you want to submit a story, make sure that you go onto our Instagram and you submit a story through private message. We will have a spot for it, our website. I'm actually building content for it right now, which is really exciting. So we're going to have a spot there, but make sure you go do that. Also, if you know anybody that wants to sponsor a podcast or anything along those lines, make sure that you send them our way and we'll go ahead and link up. I'm very excited about that. So, but let's go ahead and talk about our topic. So like, what does a color guard director really do? And also too, I think the assistant color guard director can be looped into this because they take on some tasks as well that are not like what a tech usually does. So let's kind of talk about that, because I was talking to you and a couple of our friends about this, and then it was actually kind of crazy because I then was talking to a friend of mine and the topic came up again, and it was a color guard director role I think is over glorified, if that's the right word. It's like you think that this color guard director job like is this big fancy thing that you get to do all of these awesome things and etc., but it's not.
I mean, in a way, like it definitely is, but it's not just all fun and games choreographing a show,
It's not. And as a color guard director, your job is you're in the management side of color guard now, where as a tech, you get to do some choreography, you get to, teach kids, and you get a little bit more relaxed teaching. Whereas a color guard director, you have to manage the program, you have to manage the budget, you have to manage the kids, which means discipline, which means rewards, which means you also have to manage the parents, because parents need management too, right? You need to send out them information so they can plan, because they're adults, they have lives, so you have to manage that. Then you have to do all of this relationship building and all of that kind of stuff with show designers and other schools, and
behind the scenes administrative work,
tons of administrative work,
communication between so many different parties. You have the band staff, you have the booster staff, you have just a whole bunch of different
things that you have to do administrative wise. Not only on top of that, if you are a color guard director of a high school, which the majority of color guard directors are high school color guard directors, you also have to be in, good relationship with the fine arts director, the principal, the assistant principal at the school, maybe the dance coaches. Like, there's so much like networking and, administrative paperwork that you have to do. You have to build contracts, grade grades, manage all of that kind of stuff. And I feel like, and I told this to my friend the other day. I said, stepping from a tech job to a color guard director job is you're changing a whole bunch of stuff. You don't get to do all of the fun stuff anymore. Sometimes you do.
No, you can.
You can, but
you cannot. You have all these other responsibilities that are just as, if not more important than just choreographing your show.
And a great example is this past week when I was choreographing, or when we were all choreographing. Would I love to sit down and write all the flag work, write all the rifle work, and all that kind of stuff? Yeah, I love doing that. Can I? No, I can't. I had other things to do. I had to, do other management stuff. So I had to delegate some rifle choreography to our intern tech. I had to delegate all of the dance to our tech. I had to delegate flag work to you. So really all I wrote was the flag hit and the beginning rifle work, because I was very I had very specific visions on some stuff.
Right.
So there's some spots where I was like, okay, I definitely know I want this. I see it in my head. This is what I want.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll choreograph that. And the flag hits. There's 2 flag hits right now. There's a flag rifle hit, and then there's an all-together flag hit so far.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote both of those, but there's like what? There are like 2 16s. So I wrote those because I knew that, okay, I know what I want here. So I'm going to write that. But everything else, we kind of, collaborated on the swing flag.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else was delegated.
Yeah.
3 movements of choreography, all delegated. Now, I do get to kind of say okay, I know I want to toss on this note, right? When it goes, I want to toss there. So I give instruction, but then I have to kind of say, okay, yeah, I like that, or no, I don't.
Yeah.
But again, it's delegation.
Right.
And some of the fun stuff I don't get to do anymore because I had to go do paperwork.
Yeah, you were there the whole time, but at a certain point you had to step out, go to a meeting with the boosters.
Yep.
You were on the phone with the show designer and the drill designer. You were marking through counts. You were working on contracts for kids. You were doing all this other stuff.
Budget. We were talking about budget
exactly.
stuff. And then on top of that, I'm also, I have to start also trickling in, because I actually met with the boosters about winter guard.
Yeah.
I talked to one of the booster people because I said this year, we're going to have props. So we need to start talking about those. And we're in the beginning of fall.
Yeah.
But the boosters wanted to know. They literally told me, they were like, hey, so because we were building our props for fall, and I expressed that I wanted props, and the president was like, hey, I remember you talking about a prop. Do you want a prop? And I said, oh yeah, for winter guard, I do want props. So I had to talk to him about that. That was at the beginning of the week when we were at the high school,
yeah.
So it's you have all of these other things that, and you have to trust your staff to be able to take those things on, which that's kind of where the assistant director role comes in. Mm-hmm. Because if I'm having to be in the office talking to parents or, boosters or band director or whatever, about a whole bunch of different things, I have to trust that my assistant color guard director is going to take over and know exactly how I want the program run. And that is, you have to step in and be like, everybody go to the gym and we're going to do this and we're going to start doing our exercises. And, because, I want organization, and I want the program run a specific way because I'm a little I'm a little anal about that, you know, because I want the kids to have that like consistency. So having an assistant color guard director that like you that can flex and, you know exactly what I want and come to me and say, hey, I know you have to be in this meeting, so I'm going to go ahead and do da 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 da.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh my God, thank God. Like,
yeah,
I know that's off my plate. And I'm like, oh, thank God. Because I'm delegating it to you.
Yeah, no, we're lucky enough that we have a great working relationship where we mesh really well.
We do.
We both, want to run the program in similar ways. And so it's a seamless transition, I feel. And, a lot of people in other schools, especially low budget schools, might not have staff like that.
Yeah.
All of these responsibilities, they can be done by yourself. It's just you really need to focus a lot on your organization if you're just doing this by yourself. If you're offered any sort of budget to hire a long-term tech, a part-time tech, assistant director, any other staff that you can work with you, definitely take advantage of that.
Yeah.
Because it just makes your life so much easier. And again, you're able to delegate. When we trade off, you're doing most of that. You're doing a lot of that administrative stuff. But even like the other day when you were here, I was putting in the order forms for our equipment and stuff. And it's just really nice to have somebody that you can lean on to take care of those other tasks.
And also too, like delegation wise, right? One of the things that, because we have an intern tech, he's learning how to be a staff member. And at the end of the day, I like things done a specific way. That's just who I am, because I like that organization piece and I want to make sure that we're all on track and stuff. But one of the things that I did was I delegated to him the attendance. So I showed him the spreadsheet, where to find it, where to go, all of that kind of stuff. This is what we do. And he was like, okay, yes, I can do that. So now he has a small little task. It's a very big task. It's a very important task. Attendance is very important. And keeping track of that is a very big task. So that one thing I had to delegate to him, even though, can I do it? Sure. But delegation.
Exactly.
Delegation is key.
And it's teaching him, this is something that I'm going to put into my routine. So if he's ever in a position where he's in charge of something, he knows that he can delegate that. Or, if he's by himself, he remembers, oh, this is an important thing. This is part of my routine now,
Exactly. And that's, that's where you have to, as a color guard director, you have to recognize that you can't do everything on your own and you have to delegate tasks. Now, if you are a color guard director and you are the only color guard staff, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because it is unfortunate, you have to lean on your color guard leadership to help with attendance and, those kind of smaller tasks that maybe they can take on as student leaders. But I say unfortunate because the color guard leadership in my eyes needs to be the liaison between you and the color guard. They're friends with these kids, they're their age, but they're also reporters, and like kind of like feed you information about what's going on in the color guard. So when they start stepping into some of those staff roles, air quote, staff responsibilities that you unfortunately don't have a tech or somebody to do, it puts a lot more responsibility on them. So if you do have to lean on your student leadership, do smaller things that maybe you can delegate to them,
right? Because they're still kids, but at the end of the day
they're still kids.
Yeah absolutely.
But if I can tell you anything, you need to beg and plead for you to be able to hire somebody. And guess what? You can hire a new person, like a new staff person to the color guard world at pretty inexpensive. It's when the color guard staff people have more experience, is when they become more pricey, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you can do it, if you can swing it, you need to start with a color guard assistant director. You're already giving them those responsibilities. Why not give them the title? And then if they're newer, then their pay is going to be lower, but at least they can put that on their resume.
Yeah, and you can help them build up those skills. Or you can send them over to our course. So
exactly,
we can do it for you.
$95, you know. But I mean, that's my thing, is that if you are allowed to hire somebody,
take the help.
And you don't have to spend, thousands and thousands of dollars a month to hire one person. You can put on the posting or whatever, because we didn't have a very big budget.
Mm-hmm.
And I put on the posting, like, no teaching experience required, because I knew that somebody that does have more teaching experience, they're going to need more money, because that's what they deserve.
So, yeah, that's what they deserve.
So how having somebody that has no teaching experience, coming in them, being more of a mentor to them, but also giving them and delegating them tasks, it's going to be worth the money. And they're also going to get value out of it, because they're getting some type of mentorship and learning from you, who is a color guard director.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think, and this is where it wraps back into the conversation that I had twice this week. First time was with you and a couple of our friends. And then the other time was, with a friend on the phone. And the color guard director job, I think, is a little, what do you call it? Glorified. And it's not. It's a lot of admin stuff and delegation and management of staff and kids and, parents and admin work and networking and, taking your color guard to the next level. And you're always thinking 2 years in advance. And so you have to remember, as a color guard director, delegation is key. And management of your staff is key to have a proper functioning running program.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't do all the fun stuff anymore.
No.
You can do it sometimes, but you have to do a lot of other stuff too.
For sure. But in a way, you not just focusing on that and you being able to focus on other stuff, look how much we got done and look how much less stressed we are.
I know.
So it does pay off. You may not get to choreograph everything if you delegate to other people, but it so pays off, because we are light years ahead of just normal. And I think this was a great week of learning experience for our techs, because they were able to see what happens when you delegate, what happens when you trust your staff. We're still training them. They're learning a lot, but they're passionate. I appreciate them so much.
Gosh,
they made this week so much easier.
Like, seeing our tech and seeing our intern tech, like, learning. And there was even times where I was like, okay, come here, like, I'm going to show you, like, this is why you're struggling to teach this person, because this person's a kinesthetic learner.
Yeah.
So this is what you have to do to help this person learn.
Yeah.
And then the other time, like, when there's something being choreographed or something, and I don't do it in a mean way. I just say, and I tell them, I warn them, I say, hey, you could choreograph something and I might not like it, and that's not something against you. It just doesn't fit my vision.
Yeah.
And so show me what you got. And then they'll do that and be like, okay, can we change this one thing to this, because I think I would like it better. And then we do that. And they got to, like, really, like, learn.
Yeah.
And see, like, and function. And also too, side note, I really liked that when we were bringing the percussion in to do the exercises with the color guard, I loved that all of our color guard staff was doing all of the exercises. I did
really appreciate that. And I also, when it's just the color guard, sometimes it's just me, and that's fine, because they know it's like, oh, Bella's here, it's time to exercise. And that's totally fine. You guys are preparing for the day. But I did appreciate, when the percussion came in to do it with us. Our percussion's been coming in to do the color guard exercises. It's been really cute. just no words spoken. Both of our techs just came over and started doing it, 'cause they knew, they sensed, hey, we need some more admin here. We need some more demonstration, some leadership. They've been doing a great job.
They have. It's really exciting to see both of them, because neither one of them have teaching experience, and to see both of them like really blossom in their position and starting to feel more comfortable with the kids, with us, with the band staff.
Yeah, getting more confident, teaching their own things.
Yeah, like they were teaching this week, like, and not once did I say or think that I was worried about them. Like, they really took ownership, and it was just really exciting as a color guard director to see my staff blossom. Like, it was exciting to see that happen, because it was really nice. So yeah. But that's pretty much, the other thing too is that I will be putting out a course later on, maybe in like about a year or so, like talking about the color guard director role and like all the things that you need to know and all those kind of things. Be prepared for that. It's going to take a deeper dive into what you actually do and how to manage all of this stuff, because it can be a lot. But thank you so much for y'all for being patient with us. I know we didn't have an episode last week, so we're having an episode this week. But
we've had some technical difficulties
and just schedules and tiredness. We want to put out quality over quantity. So, just keep following us on all of our social medias. Make sure you like all of our stuff, follow us. We put out a lot of stuff on our Instagram stories, so make sure that you watch those, and we'll be doing more episodes, so make sure you stay tuned. But we really love our audience, so thank you so much.
Yes, all right. Thank you guys. Good luck with
band camps. All right, bye guys.
Bye.